What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, the JJ Search, coming at you with another video. Alright guys, so here is my deck profile for the EverybodysKuya's Last Dance tournament. I decided to run with Chaos Dragons from March 2012. I'll be going over my card choices, my extra deck, overall like tech choices, and exclusions from the deck. So getting on with the profile, first we have triple like Pulsar, main guy of the deck. Starts off the loop. Next up we have one Dark Flare Dragon. I like his banishing ability and his ability to send Eclipse Wyvern directly from the deck to the graveyard. Eclipse Wyvern is just really good in grabbing that Red Eyes Darkness Meta Dragon or that Dark Arm Dragon directly from the deck. Allows a lot of banishing plays in disrupting your opponent too. Not as good as Light Pulsar, but still a good inclusion in the deck. Next up we have double Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. Back in the day this was set up as 2. I think I should have ran maybe 3 just to see a little bit more of it. Throughout the tournament this got bottomless a lot. This got destroyed a lot, so just having that extra copy would have been nice to have. Next up I played one Dark Arm Dragon. I also played double Eclipse Wyvern. This was a tech option that I really wanted to do. So one of the main bad things about this deck is the inconsistency. We use a lot of Light Swords and milling, for example like Card Trooper, Lila, Jane, Raikou. With that milling, it increases a lot of variability into the deck. I knew that this was going to be a 3-round tournament, so just having that Eclipse Wyvern to banish right away Dad or Red MD directly for the deck, and having ways of or Chaos Monsters to banish this guy and Dark Flare to banish this guy, just to add a little bit more consistency. Next up we have one Blackluster Soldier and double Chaos Sorcerer. I really wanted to play 2 Chaos Sorcerers. This is a 41 card deck, and Chaos Sorcerer and Card Trooper were the 41-ish tie. I really wanted to run double Chaos Sorcerer because just banishing a monster is just really good, and I needed more Chaos monsters and ways to banish Eclipse Wyvern. Next up we're playing one Gores and double Tragodia for the battle hand traps. I was really cautious about having these 3 into the deck because this deck is about having an OTK. Gores, Tragodia do not help in the OTK because it's very passive. I decided to ultimately play it because I needed some kind of defense, especially against Infernities where they can spam a lot, especially against 6 Sam, so they can spam a lot. These 3 were really big MVPs in those matchups, and they provided some form of defense against those decks. Against Fire Fist though, especially against Josh, those 3 cards were not as good because Bear can always just pop them. Next up, I was playing triple Effect Veiler and one Max C. I would have ran triple Max C, but I just didn't have other copies. And I also just needed some kind of disruption. There is no traps in this deck, so having Effect Veiler to just negate effects was really helpful in the tournament. Also, a Veiler is a tuner, level 1 tuner, and a light monster. Next up, I was playing triple Lila for back row removal, double Raikou, one Jane, and double Card Trooper. So Lila is just there for back row hate, Raikou there. I usually use it for back row removal as well. Jane, I wasn't sure if someone was going to run Thunder King or monsters with 1900. It just so happened that Lance was running Rock Stun, which has a lot of high attack level 4 monsters, and Jane was useful in theory to get over those monsters. I never drew him, but he was there. Card Trooper, I really wanted to run double Card Trooper, but I couldn't decide on whether to cut Chaos Sorcerer or Card Trooper. So this is like the 41-ish card. I just really like Card Trooper because milling during the main phase is just a really good play. Knowing what you can see before the end phase, because all the Light Swords mill during the end phase, so you can't really play until your next turn. Card Trooper allows you to play during your turn and not be passive. And it's also a good 1900 beat stick with the ability to draw. Next up, I was playing the Tour Guide engine with Sangan, and that rounded off the monsters. Tour Guide is just self-explanatory, allows you to control your graveyard with darks. Sangan can help you search for that one copy of Max C or Effect Veiler depending on what you need in a certain situation. Going on to the spells, we have Pre-Errata Future Fusion. I opened it up once against 6 Samurais, game 1, but it got NST'd. I baited out the Shien. I think I baited out with Solar Recharge after paying cost, and then activating Future Fusion only to get MST'd. Next up, charge a Light Brigade and triple Solar Recharge for the Lightsworn engine. Next up, I was playing 1 Forbidden Lance and 1 MST for back row removal. I really like this ratio. Back in the day, I would only play double Lance, but just having Mystical Space Typhoon to be able to choose with a quick play, I don't know, I wanted to try it out, and I wasn't confident in having double Lance. And then played Heavy Storm. This was one of the reasons why I didn't want to play 1 Mystical Space Typhoon, just because Heavy Storm is just such a powerful card, and whenever I had it, I won the game. It's just that powerful to just get rid of all your opponent's back row and just go in for game. Next up, I have 1 copy of Dark Hole and then 1 copy of Monster Reborn. For the extra deck, we have 1 5-headed dragon for the Future Fusion, 1 Stardust Dragon, Scrap Dragon. I wish I had more opportunities to make it. I really like Stardust and Scrap. Just because they're the dragon, they can be resummoned by Red Eye's Darkness Metal Dragon, and they're just good overall. I had 1 Arcanite Magician for those Chaos Sorcerer Effect Veiler plays, 1 Black Rose, 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon. I wasn't sure if my opponents would be maining field spells or anything, so just in case. Just in hindsight and using future knowledge, the extra normal summon for Ancient Fairy Dragon is just really good. Especially during first turn, if you can try to make it. 1 Bryanak, Dragon of the Ice Barrier, Vijay's Cataster, 1 Armory Arm, number 39, Tempo, Levier, number 30, Run-Up Zen Mains. Really helped in my game 2 against Infernities to just really stall out, and helped me a little bit in game 3, but ended up losing. And number 17, made them constantly just to get some darks into the graveyard during my turn. So just talking about some of my deck choices. I decided not to run Honest in the main deck. There was actually no side deck. That was one of the rules that Emerson wanted us to employ, to have complete faith in your main deck. That's what he said. I decided not to run Honest because it doesn't have any surprise value anymore. Having Honest in your hand makes you rely on it too much. If we use it for defense, I think it's too passive. Normaling a Lila or a Jane, going straight to end phase and then waiting for your opponent to attack it is very passive for me, and I just don't think that having Honest would be beneficial in my overall game strategy. There's a lot of ways to play around Honest, and so I didn't want to have a dead card in my hand game 1 or turn 1. Also, I chose not to play Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness allows you to draw 2 cards, but you have to banish a dark or discard your entire hand. I felt none of the cards in my deck, none of the dark monsters, were cards that I wanted to get rid of. Like Chaos Sorcerer, I always found myself wanting a Chaos Sorcerer at all times, just to have an extra Chaos Monster to banish Eclipse Wyvern, having Chaos Sorcerer to banish my opponent's monster. I really like Gores in hand. Tragodia was really good during this tournament. Even if I had no cards in hand, just to have that extra layer of defense was really good. And the Tour Guide package. There was never a point in time where I wished I had Allure of Darkness. So even though Allure of Darkness helps in digging into your deck and trying to make it more consistent, I just felt that there were no cards in my deck that I wanted to banish. Also, since there's a lot of milling, There was Triple Lila, Double Raiko, Jane, and Card Troopers. I think that's eight monsters of milling, including Charge of the Light Brigade and Solar Recharge, which makes it, I think that's 11 cards of milling. I didn't want to risk milling Allure of Darkness. Having like more monsters in the deck allowed for more opportunities and chance of milling a beneficial monster. I hated the feeling of milling Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, and Monster Reborn in one mill, and that actually happened I think twice in my tournament. Not wanting to mill Allure of Darkness was one of the reasons why I chose not to play Allure of Darkness. Other than those two cards, I think everything else is standard in Chaos Dragons. I was thinking about running the Judgment Dragon package as well, but I just didn't want to add more inconsistency in the deck. I don't think running it in one copy would be okay. I think if you're going to run Judgment Dragon, I think you need to have 3 copies, and that would just make the whole deck more inconsistent, because it would be required for you to run Lumina, Aaron, just cards that you just don't want to see. I guess you might want to see Lumina, but again, turn 1, if you're not milling, Lumina is really weak. Having Lumina without Raiden is not strong, because the rank 3s in this format are not good, except for maybe wind up Zen mates. But then again, I think in this format Lumina was limited, if I'm not mistaken. So even trying to get wind up Zen mains with Lumina would have been pretty difficult. I was also thinking of running Magical Merchant in this build, and instead of running the Charge of the Light Brigade, Solar Recharge, Forbidden Lance, Mystical Space Typhoon, I would be running instead 4 spells, which would be Future Fusion, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn, and using a Magical Merchant route in terms of milling in order to just capitalize on its effect of searching your deck for a spell. And then you're with only running 4 spells, you would hopefully, in theory, mill 25% of your deck and search for and add Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, or Monster Reborn, or Future Fusion directly from your deck to your hand. I didn't want to take that risk of relying so much on Magical Merchant, even though I guess in theory and in paper that would have been really amazing to just search Monster Reborn or Dark Hole or Heavy Storm right off the bat. And I was also thinking of maining Double Monster Reincarnation, just to help in adding back like a Blackluster Soldier or like Pulsar or whatever. As I'm saying before, I didn't want to rely so heavily on Magical Merchant. I ran Magical Merchant Chaos Dragons, or as I like to call it back in the day, Magical Dragons. I guess after using it so much back in the day, and I guess losing, it was just too high of a risk. I think Tour Guide Sangan can like really help make that more consistent. So if you're running Tour Guide and Sangan and Magical Merchant, so that would be around 7 copies of Magical Merchant. 7 meaning Tour Guide searches Sangan, Sangan searches Magical Merchant. Or if you draw into Sangan, you can just set Sangan, search the Magical Merchant. Another reason why I didn't like that point in the deck building is because I would rather be searching Maxi or Effect Dealer with Sangan instead of Magical Merchant. I think those are all of my strategy ideas for this tournament. Again, looking back, I think I would have wanted to add an extra copy of Red Eyes, Darkest Metal Dragon, just to add a little bit more consistency, because especially in that last game 3 against Infernities, I really got to Red Eyes, Darkest Metal Dragon late in the game. Just having more access to it would have been nice. Maybe I would have taken out a Chagodia, or maybe a Raiko or a Lila, maybe the MST or the Forbidden Lance. I just wanted an extra copy of Red MD. So that was my deck profile. Let me know what you guys think of the profile itself. I'm not really interested in doing more TCG stuff. I currently run Dinos, having to like sit through multiple negations, trying to build an unbreakable board and trying to break other people's unbreakable board is not exciting for me. I'd rather play with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duels format. It's a lot simpler than TCG. But anyways, that'll be it for the video. Make sure you give a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Make sure you share this video as well. And this is the JJ Surge signing out. Thanks for watching.